Hello and welcome to episode 76 of the Fish Tank. So I'm actually here in my house for a change, on the second one I've ever recorded here. Jimbo is currently on holiday, which has left obviously me here to record in my house, and also has left me in charge of Jimbo Studios, but more about that later on. So 76, important number, 1976. 10 years, in 1976 it was 10 years ago since England won the World Cup, as opposed to now where it's 42 years ago since England won the World Cup. Is that right? Yeah, 42. 42 is also is the name of a song on Coldplay's latest album. You might be interested to know. It's an excellent album it is as well. I can say that because Jimbo's not here. So anyway, it's time for Apology of the Week. As I say, I'm in charge of Jimbo Studios at the moment, so if there's anything wrong with Jimbo Studios, I apologise because I'm in charge. So I can't apologise enough, if you know what I mean. As I say, it's technically speaking my responsibility as the in-charge man. So there you go. So yeah, as I say, Jimbo's away, so yeah, Jimbo Studios. I'm actually trying to change the name to Fish Tank Studios for the next couple of weeks. So, as I say, I'm currently the head of Jimbo Studios, and also the body of Jimbo Studios, arms of Jimbo Studios, legs of Jimbo Studios, and all that kind of thing. So there you go. So what's been going on this week? Well, the old king is dead, long live the king. Actually, that's a line from Viva La Vida, a song on Coldplay's latest album as well. But I'm actually talking about tennis. And Roger Federer versus Rafael Nadal on Sunday. What an excellent game of tennis it was. I dislike tennis. Well, I dislike bad tennis. Good tennis is rare, but it was there on Sunday. Two of the best players ever fighting sort of against each other. Absolutely top class stuff. And Roger Federer actually showed what a true champion he was, which I suppose you can often see what a true champion is in his defeat as opposed to in his victory. I mean, as a Rudyard Kipling poem goes, you know, if you can meet victory and defeat and treat those two imposters just the same, then help yourself to one of my exceedingly good cakes or something like that. I don't know. But Federer was very modest in his defeat and very nice to Nadal and that kind of thing. Didn't start crying or anything. He's not like one of these football players who, as soon as they lose, just sort of like fall on the floor and start crying their eyes out. But there you go. It was noticeable that apparently, to celebrate, all the commentators after the final, because it was such a good final, all the commentators went out for a big drinking session. There was John McEnroe, Andrew Castle, Tim Edmund all out drinking together. Most of them managed sort of like 6-7 pints, but unfortunately Tim Edmund couldn't last past the first round. But there you go. So, actually, amusingly enough, he for the quarter-finals he lost his voice and couldn't commentate, which led to a lot of people saying that he couldn't even make it into quarter-finals as a commentator, let alone a player. So there you go, quite amusing. But what else has been going on this week? Well, there's been a big story in the news about judges who have claimed that evidence given in court by anonymous people shouldn't be allowed to be, well, shouldn't be allowed because you don't actually know who said it and that kind of thing. So I was reading a big report about it on the BBC News website, although funnily enough it didn't actually give the name of the judge who said it. So rather shot himself in the foot there, but that's the way it is sometimes. So what have I been up to this week? Well, I went to London on Monday. Which was a bit nerve-wracking, if I'm being honest, because I'd never been to London before, so I had to go down there. I was scared of the possibility of terrorism, particularly because it was Monday, which is the third anniversary of the 7/7 attacks. To sort of like protect myself, I thought on the train on the way down, if I sit in the quiet carriage, then the bomb won't go off there because that's noisy. So fortunately, well, it worked because no bombs did go off in the quiet carriage or any other carriage for that matter. I always think 7/7. I wonder if the terrorists were sort of keen to avoid the confusion in dates with 9/11, because sort of we call that 11/9. Americans call it 9/11. At least when there's an attack on the 7th of the 7th, everyone's in the same boat. We all refer to it the same. So there you go. But on the way past, I went past Peterborough, which was an interesting place. Never been through Peterborough before. I think they made quite a lot of engines for bombers during the Second World War, Peterborough. So it's a very important place in our history. And as a result, sort of a few months ago, as they actually built a replica of one of these Second World War bombers, and it set off from Peterborough, so I think about 8:30 in the morning, en route for London or wherever. So I think by 8:40 France had surrendered again, but they were just a bit cautious, you know what it's like. So anyway, it's time for the Slabometer, and who would like on the show? I would like Valerie Singleton on the show, because she apparently, the former Blue Peter presenter, had an affair with fellow presenter Peter Purvis, which is different. Not sure what she said. Apparently, was a bit of a giveaway, because on one of the shows, just after the sort of like brief fling happened, when she was introducing Peter Purvis, she actually said, "Here's one I laid earlier," and Peter Purvis came on, and that's how it went. So there was a clue there. Apparently, Peter Purvis has been in a bit of scandal before, because apparently actually filmed his own sort of like sex video, which he actually called, because it was a bit of a rude video, he actually referred to it as Blue Peter. So there you go. So anyway, it's time for the headline of the week, which this week comes from the BBC Online thing, and it says, "Bury elected mayor plan rejected." Quite right, to be honest. I mean, you shouldn't really bury your mayor, unless you're talking about London and it's Boris Johnson. Perhaps burying him might be a better thing, if we're being honest. It's, I think he actually refers to the place called Bury, or Bury, if you like, and apparently they rejected plans to have an elected mayor. So there you go. And also, quote of the week this week comes from Martin O'Neill, and I'll resist temptation to try and read it out in a Northern Irish accent. Which says, "Tonight he became the man we've all been hoping he'd become. The man, in fact, that he's been for some time." So obviously, if he's already been like that, then he's not just become it, has he? I'm not sure what he's talking about. I'm not sure if he's talking about football, or like some private incident where Martin O'Neill's been hoping for a man to become something else for quite some time, or I don't know. Not sure. It's a bit of a mystery. So there you go, that concludes episode 76 of the Fish Tank, and as I say, I'm still in charge of Jimbo Studios for the next week or so. So before I go, apparently, I've just heard news that a drunk golfer has been arrested by police after his tee shot apparently went straight through the clubhouse window and caused criminal damage. Apparently a police spokesman said that it's evidence that you should never drink and drive. So there you go, I shall see you next week. Goodbye.